In 2017, the very institution tasked to fight corruption, the Office of the Ombudsman, faced a scandal within its own walls. An officer from its intelligence bureau, Leonardo R. Nicholas Jr., was caught in a daring entrapment operation for allegedly demanding 3 million pesos from Congressman Amado Espino. In exchange, the closure of pending cases against Mayor Jumel Espino of Bugalon, Pangasinan. That same day, July 21st, 2017, the trap was set. As Nicholas accepted the envelope containing 3 million pesos, investigators closed in. The arrest sent shockwaves across the bureau, but the story was far from over.
Freeze! Leonardo R. Nicholas Jr. You are under arrest for extortion. You have the right to remain silent. That anything you say can be used against you. You have the right to an attorney, and the right to a court-appointed attorney if you cannot afford one.
In the days that followed, the Ombudsman's investigation deepened. On August 2nd, an affidavit surfaced, allegedly executed by Nicholas Jr. himself. It revealed that since January 2017, he had been transacting with several high-ranking officials. Attached to the affidavit were a letter addressed to the Ombudsman and text message screenshots with one name standing out: A.O. Roy Zoleta. Soon after, the Ombudsman's Internal Affairs Bureau issued an order. Administrative Officer Roy Zoleta was placed under preventive suspension for 6 months.
I've given my life to public service. How could they believe I'd do such a thing?
He was directed to submit a counter-affidavit. But Zoleta chose a different path, filing instead a manifestation, detailing his long service record, high performance ratings, and even his hospitalization for a ruptured aneurysm. In his manifestation, Zoleta questioned the very foundation of the case. He called the complaint a mere scrap of paper, not based on personal knowledge and unsupported by any sworn statement directly identifying him. To Zoleta, the evidence was weak, the accusations uncertain, and the complaint itself defective. After thorough investigation, the Office of the Ombudsman found Zoleta guilty of grave misconduct, serious dishonesty, and conduct prejudicial to the best interest of the service. He was dismissed from government service. When the case reached the Supreme Court, the ruling was upheld. The court explained that misconduct means intentional wrongdoing, a deliberate violation of rules. Grave misconduct, however, involves corruption, a clear intent to violate the law, or a flagrant disregard of established rules. The court emphasized, to warrant dismissal, the misconduct must be serious, deliberate, and directly related to official duty, not mere error of judgment. Integrity is the foundation of public service. Persons shall have the right to a speedy disposition of their cases before all judicial, quasi-judicial, or administrative bodies. The story begins in 2004. Provincial officials in Southern Leyte procured fertilizers using Department of Agriculture funds through direct contracting with Filipos. Later audits by the COA and the Fertilizer and Pesticide Authority noted compliance issues and confirmed that other accredited suppliers were available, raising questions about the procurement process. Nearly a decade later, in 2013, the Ombudsman filed an administrative complaint against several provincial officials. They were charged with grave misconduct, serious dishonesty, and conduct prejudicial to the best interest of the service. This complaint marked the beginning of a lengthy procedural battle. By March 2015, the petitioners submitted their position papers. For more than 2 years, the Ombudsman conducted no further proceedings. No clarificatory hearings, no formal investigation, no technical review. The Supreme Court later observed that such inaction is unreasonable. After the submission of position papers, there was no clarificatory hearing, no formal investigation, and no further proceedings. 2 years of inaction after position papers is unreasonable without justification. In June 2017, the Ombudsman issued a decision finding the petitioners administratively liable and imposing the penalty of dismissal. The decision was approved in July 2017 and served only in March 2018. The petitioners filed motions for reconsideration, but the Court of Appeals affirmed the Ombudsman's findings in 2019 and 2020. The lengthy gaps raised serious constitutional concerns. The Supreme Court examined the petitioners' claim that their constitutional right to speedy disposition was violated. The court reaffirmed that the right applies to all judicial, quasi-judicial, and administrative bodies, including the Ombudsman. When delay exceeds reasonable periods, the burden shifts to the state to justify it. In this case, the Ombudsman offered no justification for the prolonged inactivity. The delay caused prejudice and violated the petitioner's fundamental rights. The court noted that the prolonged proceedings caused prejudice to the petitioners. As a remedy, the Supreme Court dismissed the administrative complaint with prejudice, preventing the state from refiling the same case. Justice delayed is justice denied, and the law demands that constitutional rights be protected. In a country where billions of pesos were meant to serve the people, in the halls of power, where public trust should reign supreme, a scandal once exposed the dark side of politics. The PDAF scam. Janet Lim Napoles versus Ombudsman. JR numbers round 216838 39 2023. The Priority Development Assistance Fund, or PDAF. A multi-billion peso fund meant to help the poor and spur development. But behind the paperwork and the promises was a grand deception. Congress allegedly channeled their PDAF allocations to fake non-governmental organizations controlled by Janet Lim Napoles. In exchange for kickbacks and favors, the Office of the Ombudsman issued a joint resolution based on testimony from whistleblowers such as Ben-Hur Loy and findings from the National Bureau of Investigation and the Ombudsman's Field Investigation Office. This resolution found probable cause to indict Napoles, her assistant John Raymond de Asis, and a number of public officials, including former Congresswoman Rizalina L. Sichon Lanete, for plunder and violation of Section 3E of RA number 30/19, the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. Napoles and her co-accused fought back. They filed petitions for certiorari before the Supreme Court, claiming the Ombudsman committed grave abuse of discretion. They argued the evidence was weak, the witnesses unreliable, and that private citizens like Napoles cannot be charged with plunder. The case eventually reached the Supreme Court. The petitions were pending. The Sandiganbayan, the anti-graft court, stood firm. After after reviewing the evidences, it too found probable cause and issued warrants of arrest for Napoles and her co-accused. In 2023, the Supreme Court ruled with finality. The court held that it will not interfere with the Ombudsman's discretionary power to determine probable cause, except in cases of clear grave abuse, which was not found here. The Ombudsman's findings were supported by solid evidence, detailed whistleblower testimonies, COA audit reports, and documents tracing the flow of PDAF funds. There was no grave abuse, no miscarriage of justice. And even if there were doubts, the issue had already become moot, since the Sandiganbayan had independently found probable cause and issued warrants of arrest. The court also crushed another argument. Private individuals like Napoles can be held liable for plunder and graft when they conspire with public officials to amass ill-gotten wealth. Corruption, after all, knows no boundaries between government and the private sector. The Supreme Court dismissed the petitions. Janet Lim Napoles and her co-accused were ordered to face trial. The ruling reaffirmed the power of the Ombudsman and the resolve of Philippine justice to hold even the most powerful accountable. Napoles versus Ombudsman is more than a courtroom battle. It's a story about accountability, courage, and the power of truth. It reminds every Filipino that corruption, no matter how clever, can never hide forever. And as long as truth prevails, the law will always find its way to those who dare to betray the nation.